Greetings, friends. It's Pat at Dancing Moon Travel here with another episode of Let's Talk Travel. And if you follow us, and I do hope that you do, you know that we usually feature a guest from some aspect of the travel industry, whether a tour company or a cruise line or something. So we frequently have a guest on board. And this month, the last couple of months, actually, we've departed from that format a little bit, and we've been featuring some of our own travel advisors here at Dancing Moon Travel. We have four independent contractors plus myself, and we have been out and about and on the road. So we're sharing some of our own information, talking about recent places that we've traveled and some of our favorite destinations to share with you to maybe give a little bit of an inspiration as well. So that said, we are excited this evening to have with us our own Kathy Ludeman. And Kathy, let's just start. I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit. Tell our friends a little bit about your background and how you made your way to the travel industry and Dancing Moon Travel. And be sure to let people know where you are located.
Okay, great to be with you here today, Pat. I am my regular job, I call it, is a pediatric nurse practitioner. And my fun job is the travel advisor. I came into the business, 2018, I believe, is when I joined the travel industry. And my love of travel. I just love to travel. And I decided definitely I can turn it into a job. Why not? So, and I'm located with Pat here in Port Charlotte, Florida. And that's what kind of brought me to Pat. I really enjoyed that she was so local.
Yeah. Well, I am so glad that you found your way here. I know I just kind of got a message from you out of the blue and was so glad that you connected with us. You found me online and just reached out, and so glad that you did. What is it, besides your love of travel, what is it that drew you into the travel industry, Kathy?
Well, I just find the research piece of putting a vacation together and learning about the different destinations and pulling it together and making memories for people, making their dreams come true. There's just always a happy outcome when it comes to travel. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, this is the truth. We're generally, when we're planning trips for people, we're dealing with, it's not like when you have a plumbing emergency and have to contact the plumber. People are usually in a very positive frame of mind when they reach out to us to help plan a vacation. And but all of that aside, we are here tonight to talk about our recent travels. And this evening in particular, I am really interested because we're going to be talking about your domestic trip right here on the ground in the good old USA. You visited the Black Hills. And Kathy, that is one of far too many destinations that I have yet to visit myself. So I'm anxious to really learn more about your experience. With all the various destinations, that we have a lot of places to choose from here in the U.S. What was it that drew you to the Black Hills? How did that get on your travel bucket list?
Well, I'm originally from South Dakota, though I'm originally from the eastern part of South Dakota, and we used to vacation as a family quite often in the Black Hills. So I was very aware of the history and the beauty of the Black Hills. So I wanted to share that with my grandkids. I've got a 13-year-old and a 7-year-old grandchildren, and I figured that would be a great, great road trip for us.
That is fabulous. And Kathy, that brings us into something that I tell people all the time. Folks, when you can plan trips with your children and your grandchildren, your extended family, whatever the situation, you're not just taking them on a trip. You are building lifetime memories. And Kathy, don't you think when we look back on our own lives, what do we remember?
Definitely vacations.
We remember the vacations. Yep. We remember holidays and we remember vacations.
Yep.
Yeah. And folks, you can even combine those and take a holiday cruise or something. So you could combine those holidays with a vacation. So that's there's a memory to make for sure. Uh, do you think that this Black Hills vacation, you've been there, you've done that, but do you think that it lived up to your expectations as far as introducing your grandkids to their roots and some of your beginnings?
Oh God, I can't even begin to start talking about that. Just to see the joy in their face when they experience new things, watching them rock climb, watching them ride aboard an 1880 train. It was just way beyond my expectations. I wish we had more time to spend
Oh,
out there. Definitely.
yeah, that's the thing about vacations. It's never quite enough time. So, uh, you even having been there, one of of course, this is iconic. This is just one of those iconic sites that you experience in that destination. Do you remember? Or can you express how do you feel when you stand there and you see this for the first time?
A feeling of wonder and the history behind how this was carved out of the stone. It took many many years for this to happen, and it's one of the most patriotic feelings I've ever experienced, because when you see the picture that's up on the screen, you've got flags that go all the way down a corridor of every single state in the United States, and then right at the end you can see Mount Rushmore, and it's very very patriotic.
When I look at it, what a beautiful time of year. I mean, but boy, with this coming pretty much on the heels of our Independence Day celebration, how apropos is that? But here's another aspect, Kathy, of the vacation experience. Your grandchildren had an amazing time. It was fun for all of you, and they built these lifetime memories, but they also it was an education for them as well.
Yes, very much. So there was a lot of veterans at Mount Rushmore, which is a national park, and to see the veterans and shake their hands, and it was really such a good experience for them.
That is so cool. Tell us a little bit about your itinerary. How did you travel? Where did you stay? Just some of the logistics and details.
Yeah, well, you fly into the little tiny airport of Rapid City, South Dakota, and you're about, I'd say 35 minutes or so until you get into the Black Hills. And then we came into Keystone and Hill City, which are more southern Black Hills. And I highly recommend a stay in more southern Black Hills, and then moving yourself and going into the more northern Black Hills, into the Deadwood and Lead area, to kind of break it up, because they're very different, and they're very different locations, so you can experience the complete package of the Black Hills.
Okay, about how much time would you say someone should allot for a trip like this?
Minimum of a week. Minimum, yes.
And that's pretty true. I think, folks, for whenever you're planning a vacation, give yourself adequate time. This is something, I have people wanting to, they want to go to an all inclusive resort for 3 days. Bad plan. I mean, your first day, 2/3 of it is traveling and getting there, checking in. And then your last day, you have no time to experience
Yeah.
the destination. Give yourself, 5 days minimum. And I don't care where you're going. And a road trip like this, yeah, for many people, that would be a one-time deal. So give yourself time to stop and smell the roses, to
Yes.
enjoy, to pace yourselves. Uh, Now, Kathy, a question here. Um, would you consider this an area of the country where pre-planning and having reservations and accommodations lined up, vehicle rentals secured, all of those things, is this a destination where they need to have a plan in place, or can they just kind of meander and play it by ear? What do you think?
Probably one of the most important suggestions I would have about traveling to the Black Hills is planning. You cannot do this 2 months ahead of time, especially in the summer season. There's lodging, but there's not a ton of lodging there, because we've got national and state parks everywhere. So definitely, I would highly recommend planning 8 months to a year out to make sure you can get lodging that you're comfortable with, rental car is sometimes an issue out of Rapid City Airport because it is such a tiny hub that you really want to get that car reserved. Cost-wise, too, you're better off cost-wise to reserve farther out for your car.
Yeah, sometimes folks having a plan, and I have fallen victim. I have done it. Some years ago, I remember specifically that I decided spur of the moment to take a drive up from Duluth, Minnesota, where I lived at that time, and decided I would drive up to Thunder Bay, just kind of on a whim. Bad idea. You can't do that, folks. There's no place to stay. Everything is booked. You've got all of these small hotels and lodges and things. And I had to go all the way to Thunder Bay. I would have liked to break that trip up. I hadn't. So, planning and if you call Kathy, then she'll help you plan. She knows the area. She knows.
Yes.
Great destination to do, and she'll save you hours of planning time, literally hours of planning time when you do this. That's what, Kathy, isn't that what we do? Time, money, and mistakes. That's what we help people in all of those areas. What about side trips, Kathy? Are there any cool experiences besides just the scenery? Any sightseeing that you'd recommend to our audience?
Definitely. Out of Hill City, which is, again, it's more southern Black Hills. It's like an old Western town. It's just beautiful. There's an 1880 train, a steam engine, that takes you out of Hill City and over to Keystone. And it's just like like you'd see in the old Westerns. And as you travel along, they narrate a history of the area, history of the steam engine itself. And my grandkids, I thought for sure they'd be snoozing or bored. They were mesmerized by the scenery and the history. We just loved it. Just loved it.
I love that. Is there anything up there that you missed on this trip you didn't do that you came back and in retrospect saying, darn, I wish we had worked that into the schedule?
Yep. There definitely was thing. There's the Badlands, which is a national park, which is about an hour east of Rapid City. The Badlands, you have to see the Badlands if you've never experienced it. It's a mini Grand Canyon like, but it's just beautiful. And then right next to the Badlands is Wall, South Dakota, where you have to go to Wall Drug. It's very famous. You may see signs all over the United States, 1,000 miles to Wall Drug, South Dakota. Children would love Wall Drug, but we weren't able to fit that in this trip. So that's one thing. It was too bad we didn't get to go.
I did some of the pictures here, the Badlands area, that I just thought were so cool. And that's the highest point.
Yep.
And people think Badlands, you think that they've got some amazing waterfalls and things.
Oh, yes.
That you can see up there. So it's not all like dry rock formations. There's some beautiful scenery like that.
Great hiking and bike renting. There, the Mickelson Trail goes all the way through the hills. You can bike it, e-bike it even if you want to. It's just gorgeous.
Wow, those e-bikes, those are great. I mean, the people that maybe of a certain age and past your peak performance level, but you can go back and enjoy biking again, folks, with that. Would you say there was anything unexpected that just a kind of a delight that surprised you along the way, even though you're from that area?
Well, we took a visit to Crazy Horse, and Crazy Horse is a carving. There's not even close to being completed of a famous warrior. And our tour guide, because we paid a little extra to take the bus to the base of it, and our tour guide ended up being a Lakota Sioux. And I love history, but I love when you're hearing history from a historian who can fill in the fun gaps of history. And he did. He just talked a lot about the Indian culture, how the natives felt about the Black Hills, how the natives felt about this carving. And it was this great memory I have of his stories.
Now, when you talk about this, how big is this carving that they're doing? It sounds like it's quite an endeavor.
It's bigger than Mount Rushmore by far. It's something
Really?
else. And the history about the family that started this, because Lakota Sioux hired him to do it. And it's going to be 20 to 30 more years, I think, until it's finished.
Wow, that is amazing. That's another thing that you piqued my curiosity on this. And Kathy, you have brought out a point that I think is so important that I bring up to our clients with some frequency as well. The importance of taking some of these tours and plugging in, you can do an entire escorted tour from beginning to end, where you're met at the airport with your transfer, and then you're plugged into the tour for 7 or 10 or 20 days, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
for an escorted tour. Or you can plug into some escorted day trips and excursions like this, which we frequently do for our clients when they're doing independent travel. We'll still hook them up with some of these escorts, because yes, you could drive and go see this and go by it and say, oh, that's pretty cool. But you don't, when you do the escorted tour, you get the context, you get the history,
Mm-hmm.
you get the, like you said, the importance and how the Native American community feels about what's being done there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
Those tours, when we suggest those tours to our clients, we're doing, we really want to encourage people to plug into some of those, because it's going to greatly enhance your
Oh,
experience. I have clients going to Ireland, and they're renting we've plugged them into a house over there, and they're renting a car. They're going to be primarily on their own. But when it came, I said, ring of Kerry, folks, you just need to get an escorted tour for that day so you can enjoy it, and so you can learn, get the experience of a guided tour. And there's just a lot to be said for
mm-hmm.
paying a few extra dollars to get that experience. Um, you know me, Kathy. I'm always, I'm about the food. So, and I think I'm not alone there. I think we have some foodies who are regular.
Mm-hmm.
uh, did did uh, did you have any memorable meals or uncover any local eateries or special kind of regional fare that people should travel experience when they travel to the area?
Well, South Dakota is definitely a meat and potato kind of place, but you cannot beat their beef. The beef in South Dakota, the barbecue, the steaks. There's no better place on the planet for steaks and barbecue and just kind of traditional kind of food.
Okay, so that would be someplace where Marvin would be very happy to visit. Mr. Meat and Potatoes would
Uh-huh.
love that experience. That that's good to know. Um,
When
just
you can get bison burgers too.
oh wow,
Buffalo burgers or bison.
that is cool. That's a very lean type of
Yes.
meat. I understand. I think I had it one time,
Yeah.
maybe somewhere. Um, So to kind of summarize things here, just based on your recent experience and your knowledge of this particular destination, can you give us a couple or three reasons why someone who's listening to this broadcast might want to add the Black Hills to their own travel bucket list?
Like I've talked quite a bit about, number one thing is the history behind the hills. Um, Number two is the freshness and the beauty, the air, breathing that nice crisp air in, the rock formations, the hikes. It's just beautiful. And I did not find it crowded at all. I found there was many other attractions. I felt like there was no one around. It's a big area, but it's the tourist piece of it. I felt it was not crowded at all. I really
That
enjoyed
is
that part of it.
That's great. So it sounds to me like people who are into uh, history, for sure, the history buffs, particularly our Western history. If you're into history, If you're into an adventure traveler who likes to do things like biking and hiking and the great outdoors, photographers for sure.
Yes.
I think it's it's one of those photography. In fact, our agent Jason Odell does an annual trip. Photographers, if you're listening, you might want to think about this sometime, because Jason does an annual Badlands trip because it's it's just such a great place for photographers, and he has some people who go with him again and again on that tour. It's that interesting for the photographer people who might be listening in. So, Kathy, I so appreciate you have really given me some inspiration, and hopefully, I suspect you might have inspired some of our listeners as well. How do people get in touch with you if they're interested in the Badlands or any destination? Kathy handles she handles whatever kind. She's recently been to Ireland. She has a wealth of personal travel experience and years of experience as an agent too. How can people get hold of you to book their travel?
Well, I can be reached by phone at 941-763-9848, or call, of course, Kathy at dancingmoontravel.com.
Excellent, excellent. Folks, if you want to go to the Dakotas, Kathy is your gal. She would love to help you. And I know she pays such great attention to detail, and she will plan a trip that's customized to your particular interests. So reach out again, contact Kathy at dancingmoontravel.com, or give her a call at the number on your screen. I'm going to give you just another second here. Actually, I've decided to add this particular destination to my bucket list based on this conversation.
That's good. That's good.
And to our listeners who watch regularly, we always have a prize drawing. So I am going to give away, this is a wine wing. It has a Velcro fastener at the bottom. And if you're going on a cruise, this is a great little handy thing. We've got a pair of these. Most cruise lines let you take two bottles of wine, one per adult, on board with you, or you may be traveling and you want to put a bottle of wine in your luggage. Maybe it's going to be a gift for somebody you're visiting or whatever. You do not want that wine to break, and red wine all over your wardrobe is not going to be fun. But this will protect it, keep it safe. It's a bubble wrap kind of thing that's just the perfect size for a bottle of wine. And I'll send a pair of these out to some lucky live. You've got to be listening live listeners only. Enter Black Hills. We're going to make it Black Hills in the comments right now. And we'll have a drawing to some lucky member of our audience this evening. Kathy, thank you again.
Oh, my pleasure.
We so appreciate it. I know that you between your work as a nurse practitioner and your growing travel business, that you have a lot on your plate, and we so appreciate your time filling us in about your recent travel. So, and audience, we appreciate all of you friends out there too. If you haven't followed us already, you might want to make it a point to get this program on your calendar every Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern. And you might want to search out our YouTube channel and like it, because there's all kinds of past videos there about destinations and travel of all kinds. So check that out as well. Kathy, thanks again. And I just want to say goodbye to everybody. Hope you had a safe 4th holiday last week. And now we'll be just kind of marking time until we get around to the Labor Day weekend. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.
Everybody. Bye-bye.